So we will get started. Welcome everybody to workshop number 3. Today we're going to talk about optimization, and by optimization I mean how do we optimize a product for it to rank as highly as possible online. And we're going to do it as we did before, based on the example of eBay. So how do we get maximum visibility on eBay? That's going to be the topic today. Before I get talking about the content, let me share a couple of introductory remarks. This session is being recorded, so we will make it available afterwards in case you join late or in case you need to review anything in here. The slides will be shared as well after the session. And this time we will make sure that we have time for Q&A at the end. I realized in the first 2 workshops, we were kind of super busy and tight on time, and I did not get to answer the questions within the session. This time I'll make sure I have at least 10 minutes at the end to answer some of the questions. If you do have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. And just for so you can see how the chat works. Here on Zoom, you have a chat option. See? Okay, I don't actually find the chat option right now, but okay, give me a minute for that. Right, so if you don't find the chat, then you can feel free to okay, there's the chat. Great, thank you. Thanks, Erika. So there's a chat option here on the right-hand side in More and Chat, and you can just pop your questions in there. Any remaining questions that we don't have time to answer, you will be able to send me by email, and I will answer them later on. So I will share my email address as well. Actually, why don't I make use of the chat functionality here and just put in my email. So it's fabian@etrade.com. So in case I'm not answering any of the questions at the end of the session, please send them this way. And then finally, there is a new WhatsApp group, a group that has been created where you guys should be part of, and that's also a great way to get quick feedback on any questions that pop up, because we're sort of everybody together in a group and learning together, and some people are a little bit more advanced than others, and if I'm not able to answer quickly, the chat might be a faster way to get your questions answered. Great. Today we're going to talk about optimization. Just to put things in context briefly, as a reminder, our goal is to get on the Brazil hub on eBay. So this is what I'm going to be working on with you over the next few months. We're looking to build the Brazil hub on eBay, where all of you will be featured, and we will do our best to kind of get you customers and sales using the eBay platform. So far, we have ran 2 workshops. The first one, we talked about pricing 2 weeks ago. Last time, we started looking into shipping, so how to set up international shipping, and we didn't get fully through. So we will take a couple of minutes to follow up on this. And then we're going to dive into today's main topic around optimization. There is another workshop happening next week around boosting visibility. And then there are also practical sessions going on for the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I've already talked to many of you to set up your PayPal business accounts, to set up your eBay accounts. And today we're launching the first practical session on listing a product. So we'll go to the product through the product flow together. And finally, all of you are also entitled to 5 hours of individual training. So make sure that you sign up with me. I will share the links to those sessions at the end. Today we're going to talk a little bit about shipping, just to follow up and talk through the different models of shipping that we had started looking at. Then we're going to look at how search works on eBay, how you can optimize your product for maximum visibility. So we're going to go through the product flow together, and we'll make sure there's time for Q&A. Great. With this, let me dive back into the presentation and go back to where we left off. So that's a couple of slides earlier on. So I'm gonna move up here. This is where we left off last time. So let me continue here and talk you through the different shipping models that I have seen working for sellers on eBay. As a reminder, we have 4 models. One is the very small items shipped through postal services, typically without tracking. The other one is kind of larger items also shipped through postal services. Then larger items shipped through couriers. And finally, we had talked about the forward deployment model last time, which is when you send kind of larger quantities into your target market and then work with a business partner to do the last mile delivery. I'll take 5 minutes to look in a little more detail at each one of those models. So the first shipping model is one that's employed quite often, honestly, by sellers from China. This typically applies to products that are very low value. So less than $10, very low weight, less than 250 grams, and that can usually be shipped actually in an envelope. And the pros is it's very cheap to do that. The cons is you don't have as much kind of reliability because there's usually no tracking. I'll give you an example of one of those sellers that's very successfully using this model, and that would be over here, switching windows. Okay. So here we have a seller that is based in a place called Yiwu in Jiang, China. And basically the seller sells what they call elegant silver rings for a price that's really incredibly low. Is less than $2, and they have free economy shipping. So what's going on here is that it's obviously a mass production kind of low value item. It looks good, but it's a very, very low value and mass production. And in reality, this seller, I would guess that the product price is no more than like 50 to 60 cents. And then I know that shipping from China is like 70 cents. So what happens is that the seller just adds up the cost of the product plus shipping. So 50 cents plus 70 cents, we get to 120. And then we have some fees. As we saw in the first webinar, we typically have shipping, selling fees around maybe 20% or so, which gets you to probably around 150, 160, and then the rest hopefully would be some profit margin. And this only works if you sell at larger scale, which is what the seller is doing. You can see the seller sold almost 15,000 of this ring. So for those of you who have small items, this is an option that's widely used. However, what I've seen in our groups is more of the kind of kind of heavier and more expensive, higher average selling price products. And here we can either, I've seen successful sellers using postal services, and I've seen successful sellers using express services. Let's very quickly talk about postal services. So the pros of using postal services usually is that it's going to be a little bit cheaper than courier services. So the example I have here is a seller that I've met that's based in Rwanda, in the heart of Africa, and she doesn't have a good rate with any courier, so she'd have to pay probably $60 or more to ship an item like this wooden figure. However, when she uses postal services, it's about maybe $25 to $40, and she's made a good experience with the postal service. It's been reliable, and so she's using that. However, if you're able to get a better rate with courier services, which is what we are looking to do in this program, so we're looking to talk to couriers to see that we can get better rates, then usually the courier will be your prime choice. So an example that I have here would be a beauty product, a higher price beauty product. So we've looked at this one in the past webinars. So it's the hair treatment, which is sold for between $160 and $180 on eBay, and it's always sold with free shipping. So that means the shipping is simply included in the final price. And so courier usually works. I've seen it work for products that are probably $70 or more with higher margin. And the pros, of course, of using couriers, it's fast, and it's really, it's super reliable. It's just a really good customer experience. I myself have ordered from like all the sellers I've worked with across Africa, across Central America. I always do test purchases, and I've usually tried to order products via posta and via courier. And so the two things that I can say from my experience is, things that the products usually, the products all have arrived, and with the postal services, sometimes it could take up to 4 weeks. So as a buyer, you don't feel very confident, especially when there's no tracking information. And that's usually the case. On the contrary, whenever I've ordered using courier services, in this case DHL, I've always gotten updates on my app, so I could always see where the parcel was, and it was usually delivered within like 4 days, maximum 5 days, and that's kind of from anywhere in the world. So if you're in the business of selling items in this range, courier is probably the choice for you. I will very quickly have a look at two examples of sellers that are using postal or expedited services, just so we can see how they make it work. So this is the seller I talked about from Rwanda. So she has a product priced at sort of a little more than $100, and then she just adds the shipping. She kind of puts the shipping in addition. So on eBay, you have the possibility to obviously do the pricing as you wish. So you can either say I have a price and additional shipping, or you can raise the price to include your shipping and then say that you have free shipping. And actually, this is what I would very much recommend, because as we will see a little bit later, when you have free shipping, you usually get better visibility on search. So if we look at this seller that's into beauty products, this seller will probably have, this seller is offering free expedited shipping, and the item is based, it's based in the US. So, but it could be based anywhere really. And this could be shipped into 4 to 5 days from anywhere in the world, really, using courier services. So the way it works with this seller is, they will have a fairly low fixed cost. They will add the fairly high shipping cost to this, and they will add their profit margin. And so they get to this price of $189, which seems to work because they've already sold over 300 of this product. I'll show you the pricing sheet from the first day, just to give you an idea of how they make it work. So the base cost, as we've seen it, was relatively low, at maybe $30 or so. Then you have some packaging, and then you have some shipping cost. And here I just put the shipping cost to $60. Usually I've seen my sellers get much better rates for a courier shipping, and I'm hoping that we're going to get much better rates than this. But over the counter, that's probably what you could expect if you want to ship, say, from Brazil to the United States via a courier. And then you get to an overall, overall cost of $93. I'm adding here a profit margin of $40, and I'm adding all the fees for selling. So we have 10% that eBay takes. We have 6.4% that PayPal takes, and then we have a currency conversion fee when you withdraw your money back into Brazil. And so your fees total $25 roughly. And if you count everything together, you get to $159 with free shipping. You've just calculated the shipping into the final price. And what happens is, with $160, you would actually be competitive, and you could sell below this seller's price, which is what you want to do whenever you try to break into a new market. You will likely have to charge a lower cost, charge a lower price at the beginning at least. Okay, so these are the shipping models that I've seen work. The last model is the one I already talked about, which is shipping a larger quantity into the target market and then working with the business partner to do the last mile delivery. I'm not going to dwell on that because we already talked about it in the last webinar. So if you haven't seen that one, make sure to watch the video from last time. Right. Couple of more points around shipping. Just to be clear that the shipping rates that the carriers usually give you, and all of you who have shipped internationally will know that, but the shipping rates that you see are not the shipping rates that you pay. So in this case, let's assume we ship a 2-kilo item to the United States, which is zone 1 here. So this is the pricing that DHL gave us in the program that we ran in Central America. So we are able to ship for $27 into the US market, and that's kind of 3 to 4 day delivery. So it's a pretty good price. However, we always need to keep in mind this is the base price, and then there's always a fuel surcharge, which can be anywhere between 7 to 10%, and then there's usually the VAT that's being charged as well. So in reality, your shipping cost here is more like $35 instead of 27. So that would mean kind of add 20-25% when you do your pricing. Make sure you add enough margin to be able to really cover the cost of shipping. Right. Do you offer duties and taxes paid option? I will quickly talk about this one as well. The DDP, so duties and taxes paid option, that's a great option for items that are shipped via courier. So anything, I'd say $70 upwards. It can make sense to use DDP. So the context is whenever items cross the border, when you ship from Brazil into Europe, for instance, and the price, the value of your item is more than 22 euros, you will be, the customer will be charged by default value-added tax and duties, because anything that's above the 22 euro threshold is subject to being taxed. And what happens in practice is a lot of sellers will just ship normally without using duties taxes paid option. And what happens is, as the customer, you then get your product, and 2 weeks later, you get an invoice from the tax authority, because the tax authority has your address as the destinatory, but not the address from the seller, which would be you guys. And what happens is the customer ends up paying fees that they didn't expect, and that usually creates very unsatisfied customers, and that could have consequences for you. So whenever you ship, if you are interested to ship if you're interested in shipping to Europe, we could talk about this in the individual sessions, and we'll make sure that we avoid these kinds of problems. If you focus on the US market, which is what I warmly recommend to this group, then we don't have to worry too much about DDP, just because the threshold in the US is much higher. So any parcel that's valued less than $800 practically gets into the market without any taxes and duties. The taxes and duties option can basically be asked when you deliver with the courier, and you have to basically pay the courier an additional fee, and then they will handle for you the import duties, so that you get the invoice and not the customer. But on DDP, let's definitely make sure that if you're interested in shipping to Europe, let's talk about it when we talk in the individual session. Then this is a slide just to give you an idea of the different de minimis thresholds in different countries, and there's just huge differences for any country. So I'll let you look at this after the session. I also want to share with you a great tool that allows you to calculate taxes and duties for a given market. It's called Simply Duty, and it basically allows you to do up to 5 searches per day. So if I go to simplyduty.com and I want to know, for example, I'm shipping a beauty product from Brazil to Europe. So I can basically say the importing from Brazil, importing to, and then we'll take Germany, and we'll put in a product description. So I'm gonna say hair treatment, and see. Okay, and the product value, we're gonna put it at $160. We have quantity 1, and shipping cost, we'll put it to 0, insurance as well. And let's calculate my duties. Okay, so it's basically telling me that I'm gonna have 0% duties, but I'm going to have a value-added tax of 16%, which corresponds to €3.83, and so that's going to be my total fee. And so I recommend you use that to get a sense of what import duties might be for individual countries. Not going to dwell too much on this one. Just will share the link with you as well in the chat. Just make sure we got it right. Simplyduty.com. Okay, so feel free to play around with this. I found it very useful. Cool. With that, let's move into the topic of today's session, which is about optimization. And what I want to talk about now is I want to talk with optimization. As I said before, I mean, how do you optimize your product so it gets maximum visibility on search? And so the objective of this session is that you understand how the eBay search engine works and what you can do when you list a product to get maximum visibility. So the eBay default search engine is called Best Match. You have different ways of kind of filtering on the eBay search engine. It can be like lowest price first, it can be quickest shipping first, but usually by default, the search engine that's working on eBay is called Best Match. And I want to talk about how the Best Match algorithm works. So essentially, the higher you appear in search, the better. And the question is, how do we do that? And so in order to understand that, it's a good idea to understand like eBay's business model, and which applies to actually any online marketplace out there. And what is an online marketplace doing? So they're trying to make they're making their money from the final value fees. So what eBay is looking to do is it's looking to give those products the most visibility that eBay thinks, you know, they will have the most clicks and they will have the best conversion and they will have the most sales. Like that's what eBay is trying to do. And essentially you could see eBay like a search, just as a search engine as Google, with the difference that there is a checkout, and eBay is making the money not when the ad is served, but whenever there's a purchase made for each item that eBay has shown a product for. The three pillars of search are identification, conversion, and standards. With identification, what we mean is basically if a buyer types something into the eBay search box, like how confident can eBay be that your product will match with this search? So this is about keywords. That's the number one. Number two is conversion. So basically, if eBay has for any given keyword multiple results, then basically which one should it show first? We'll make an example in a second using beauty products, but if you have 100 of the same beauty product from 100 different buyers, which buyer will take the first spot and why will that buyer take the first spot? And a big reason is conversion. So what eBay does is it looks at a buyer's history and it looks at how many times people have clicked on the product and how many times people have bought the product. And based on whoever has the better conversion metrics, that seller will rank higher in search. And then finally, we have standards. And standards is basically, can eBay trust you as a seller to deliver a good buyer experience? So if you have proven in the past that you are able to create a good buyer experience, so if you always shipped on time, if your products that you've shipped have always been what they were supposed to be, so you haven't sent out the wrong item, or the item was not, there weren't basically any issues. If you have a good history as a seller, then you're likely to rank higher as well. And we look, and eBay very, very closely monitors their seller. Like everything that you do is being very closely monitored, because if you don't deliver to the satisfaction of the buyers, that has drastic consequences, not just not just for you, but for eBay as a whole. It's really important to the business model of an online platform that the sellers deliver quality service. Otherwise, no one will go to that platform anymore. So identification, conversion, and standards. Now, what I want to do is I want to actually look at an example product and figure out and look in detail at those 3 pillars to understand why it's ranking well or why it isn't. And what I've done is I've chosen this beauty product, which we've been using all along. And let's talk a little bit about this product. So what I want to start with is I need to go on the other screen. Apologies. This is the right screen. Okay, so let's assume I'm a buyer on eBay, and I already know I want a product from this brand called InnoR. So I'm just going to search for InnoR, and what eBay gives me instantly is a list of InnoR branded products, and essentially I have 135 products for this search term. That's not a lot, but it's quite significant still. And so now let's have a quick look through the list. So these are the products that I'm being served, and as you can see, this particular product here that we've looked at appears a couple of times. So that's essentially different sellers selling the same product. And the question is, why is this product getting better visibility, for instance, than a product like this one? So let's compare both of them. I'm going to split the screen here, and we're going to look at this product, which is super high ranking, and we're going to compare it to another product which ranked much less high. So so this one. Okay. And then we have our high ranking product over here. Okay, and I want to look at both of those products in the perspective of identification, conversion, and standards. So in terms of identification, there isn't too much to say. We put in InnoR as a brand, and eBay served us 135 products that had that in the title. So both of these products have InnoR in the title, and that's why they got shown. So there's not much magic about this. What's much more interesting is conversion. And so the product on the left is the one that's getting kind of the very high search ranking, and there are good reasons for it. So this product has basically been clicked on quite a lot. It's whenever buyers clicked on it, they have also bought it quite a lot. And I think there's someone. Could you please go on mute, everyone? Thank you very much. Cool. So, so the key factors for conversion are typically, it needs to be competitive in price. Okay, so here we have $189, and here we have $180. So actually, it looks like this one is the better price. So why is it getting less visibility on eBay? Well, let's maybe look at the shipping. Shipping is the other really important factor to give you visibility. So this seller on the left offers free expedited shipping. So you can basically get it if you buy today, you can get it by November 9th, meaning 6-day delivery. Here, I don't even see the shipping time. I only know it ships from the US, but I don't really know when it's going to get there. And if I want to know, I actually have to tell the seller my zip code. So I'm going to say that I'm in California. So I'm putting my zip code in here to calculate the shipping cost, and it's telling me, okay, so it's telling me also expedited shipping. I can actually get it by November 7th, which is really fast, but there is an additional cost here of $14.90. So if we calculate everything together, we get to a price of $194.90, and that's actually a price that's higher than the one of our high-ranking buyer. So the price is actually in reality is actually higher. Okay, so that makes sense then. This product has the better price, so it ranks higher. Good, understood. Now, but what else? Could lead this product to rank higher? We also have to look at the history of the listing, and we can see here this product has already sold many times and has 100% buyer satisfaction. On the other hand, this one so far has only sold 2, and what's usually so then if we look at the third pillar, which is seller standards, it basically means like which one of these 2 sellers is more likely to deliver a good experience. And as I said before, eBay tracks the performance of its sellers very, very closely. And when you look at a listing, you can always see the seller information here on the right-hand side. And in this case, we have 2 different sellers. This one is called Keratin Sales, and this one is called RSAL 6319. Now, note this part here. This seller has 99.7% positive feedback. So that means basically of all the customers that have bought from that seller, almost 100% were satisfied with the purchase. And this number here tells you that this seller has done almost 3,000 or has collected almost 3,000 positive or 3,000 feedbacks from buyers. So basically, eBay knows this seller, has a very, very solid history, and that's a very good reason to give that product better visibility than this product, because as you can see here, this seller has only has a history of 97 sales, so a much less experienced seller, and then also only 97% positive feedback. So there's a lot more buyers that were unhappy with this seller versus this seller. Typically, the reason that a buyer would not be happy with a seller is for 2 reasons. Either the product did not arrive within the agreed time. So this seller promises 3 to 4 days delivery. And what will have happened in the past is that it arrived late. So it might have been 5 or 6 or 7 days. And then basically the buyers have a right to give you a negative feedback because it was late. And reason number 2 is that the item was not received. So sometimes things can go wrong and the postal service may not deliver. and in this case, in the case of this seller, they basically made sure that they work with a courier service that that delivers as promised. Okay. So with this, let's go back to the presentation. Okay, let's go on for another 5 minutes, and then we'll jump into Q&A. What I want to briefly do with you guys is show you an item listing flow, so you can see relatively well what you need to look at when you list an item in order to be in order to make sure that it is optimized for visibility. And I have prepared an item for this, and I will quickly log into my own account here. So I need a second to log out of the seller account that I've just been in and log back into my own account. Okay. Okay. So I'm in my eBay account. I'm going into the selling section, and I want to look at my listings that I have. This is my seller hub, and I myself have listed this beauty treatment product. And as a seller on eBay, this is what the listing flow looks like when you list on eBay. And let's briefly talk through this flow, so you get an understanding of how relatively easy it is to list a product and what to look out for when you do that. We will also look at this product listing flow in detail in the practical sessions. So so make sure to join the practical sessions for this part. Okay, when I list an item on eBay, we basically start with the title. And here, what's really important is that we put in the right keywords. So as you can see, I could have just put in a title like in our hair treatment, right? And that would describe the product. But the problem with this is we're missing out on a lot of the potential buyers that might be looking for this product as well. So, we might have buyers that are not looking for the brand at all. They just look for a hair treatment that has a keratin, right? So they could be looking for keratin hair treatment. So we absolutely need the keyword keratin in there. There might be people that have heard about this Moroccan aspect of this product. Like I myself, I'm not at all. I don't use these products myself, and I'm not an expert on this particular product. But the most experienced sellers are using these keywords, so that tells me something about the customer. So there's apparently customers that are interested in a Moroccan style treatment, and if we don't have Moroccan in the title, we're not gonna get those customers. Then we have a blowout as a keyword, blowout treatment, and then it's a kit, and it's 1 liter. So the point here is to make sure to use all the characters in the title, because every keyword that you add in addition is potentially more customers that find your listing. In terms of subtitle, I never recommend using a subtitle because eBay actually charges for subtitles, and it's just kind of more keywords that you can use. So what I'm always saying is use all the kind of free keywords that you can use here, and then don't use a subtitle. Custom label. If you want to give your item a custom label, you know, that might be like an item number or anything that you use for your own stock management. You can do that here. So usually we have a condition, so it's going to be it's usually going to be new in a box, and then on images are, as you all will know because you've all been selling, I mean, those are the ones. The images are extremely important in terms of the click-through rate from like the search results into your listing. So if you have a bad image, people will be less likely to click on your product. So the one point is, you know, have high quality pictures, and that means on eBay it's 1600 by 1600 pixel. That's what's recommended. You can have higher resolution pictures as well, but like the lowest that you should go with is 1600 times 1600, and then you should always have kind of detailed shots of your product to give your customer an understanding of a more detailed understanding of the product, and to show any relevant detail to your customer. And the point here is, for each additional image that you add, your likelihood of selling and converting goes up. Okay, the last point that I'm going to dwell on here is item specifics. Item specifics is essentially another opportunity to include keywords which are relevant for search. And in this case, our product, it's a cream product. It's got keratin as an ingredient. It's got the formaldehyde as an ingredient, and the product line is InnoR, and the styling effect is smoothening and straightening, right? So these specifics are recommended to you by eBay, because eBay already knows this, already knows this product. It's already in the catalog. Make sure that the item specifics are always filled in, because they are extremely relevant for search. So if you don't have keywords in the item description, you will miss out on customers as well. Okay, this part about item description and setting up shipping and price, etc., we will not cover it this time. We'll look at it in the next session when we talk about listing an item and visibility. So I'm just gonna update this item now with all these details, and it's just been listed. And basically, this is the product that I'm basically selling, and it's competing with the other sellers. But I doubt it that it will have any high ranking in search, because it currently doesn't have any listing history. I have an extremely high price, well, we can try it out, right? Let's search for InnoR Brazilian keratin treatment, and let's see if we can find my listing on eBay. So I'm going to search for this treatment. Okay, and I get 71 results, and I'll try and see if I can find my product. So this is again like the seller that we looked at before. Okay. So my product, here's my product. So this is mine from Switzerland for $350. So as you can see, I'm pretty low on the list. Like of 71 items, I get a pretty low placement. That's just because I'm super expensive, and I don't have a sales history with this item, and I intentionally priced it at this high price because I don't actually, in my case, I don't actually want to sell it. I just use it as an example. Okay, and just to say, like, many buyers would not be looking for the brand. They would just be looking for Brazilian keratin treatment, and then now we're looking at 2,000 products, and you'll see, we'll probably see the seller. Yeah, here we go again. So here we have the successful seller that we looked at before, but I can guarantee you that my listing will not appear, on the first page here. It's going to be somewhere very much in the back, which basically tells us if we want to be first page, we really have to be careful, on how we price our item, and we need to build a history as a seller that eBay trusts. Okay, let me go back to the presentation. So I think I've gone on enough about search engine optimization, and I think the monologue has been long enough. So let me turn to the chat and see if I can find any questions, and I'll do my best to answer those. So so I have a question from Catherine. If the consumer doesn't like the product and wishes to return, what do sellers usually do? Will we have special taxes with some courier? Okay. I'm gonna start with the first questions on return. So if the consumer doesn't like the product and wish to return, what can sellers usually do? So returns cases returns are definitely a delicate thing, and returns are especially challenging in cross-border trade, because simply because the shipping cost is such a high percentage of the overall cost, and by default, the shipping and returns policy that I suggest we use is that the buyer pays for the return unless there's something really wrong with the product. So it's not the product, as long as you ship the product as you show it on the pictures, as long as it corresponds to the product that you are showing, and you haven't sent the wrong product, then the buyer will not be able to return it just because they don't like it, right? If they want to do that, they need to pay themselves, and that's the standard. That's a standard return policy that we can set up on eBay. So we'll do that. In case there is something wrong with the product, so either item not received, so there was a hiccup with the delivery process, or the item is not as described. So you might have sent, instead of sending like the Innoar keratin treatment, you sent another brand. So the mistake was on you. In this case, you would have to either cover the return cost. So there's an easy way on eBay to do that, and we'll talk about it in the individual session. And but in practice, what happens a lot with cross-border trade is that you would agree with the buyer on a partial refund. So you say, okay, it's my mistake. I sent you the wrong product. I'll give you back maybe 50% of the money. So you don't have to go through the whole returns process, which is super cumbersome and super expensive. I hope that answers the question. Will we have special taxes with some courier? So Catherine, I think what you mean is, will we have special rates with some courier? I don't know at this point. What I can assure you is I was on a call 2 weeks ago with the eBay business unit, and they are working with with a couple of Brazilian courier services to get special discounts for eBay sellers. So I'm going to follow up on that, and I'm going to let you know if we can get some kind of special rate. In general, like, to be honest, like, I wouldn't be satisfied if we couldn't get a rate below like $30 for expedited international shipping to the US. So, you know, in my previous project, so in Kenya, we had a rate of about $22, and in Central America, we had a rate, as you saw before, of about $27, and that's a parcel of 2 kilos. So I usually refer to parcels of up to 2 kilos. So I'll keep you posted on that one. How does it work with sponsored products? Marco's question is asking about sponsored products. Yes, you have the possibility on eBay to use a functionality that's called promoted listings. And that means you basically agree to pay eBay a higher share of the final price. So the typical share of the final price that you pay to eBay is 10%. Now you can say, okay, I'm willing to pay another 5% on top in return for eBay giving me more visibility. So you can get artificial visibility using promoted listings, and you only pay when the item sells. So I mean, I've tested promoted listings with many of my sellers, and you know, the reality is, you know, what's most important is that you are competitive with your price. You know, you need to have a competitive price, and you need to have a reasonable shipping time, right? That's what's going to make your item sell. If you have a product like you know, the one that I've listed for, you know, the hair treatment, which I'm listing at $350, which is, you know, almost double the price of the market. Like, I could promote this like crazy, but nobody's going to buy anyways. So we will look into promoted listings. It can work, but the basis is, you know, we need to be competitive in price, and then we can do a little bit of promoted listings here and there. But honestly, you know, there's more impactful ways to get traffic, in my opinion. Okay. Can the promoted listings be canceled at any time, or is there a commitment for a couple of months? No, you can cancel it any time. Okay. Cynthia is asking, do we need to have a stock tracking software in order to sell on eBay? Yeah, so I think that's a yeah, great and relevant question. So I see this going in steps, and like we could talk about this in the individual session on how we handle stock management. What I've made good experiences with in the past is, since we're using eBay to try exports, you know, we have to assume that most people in this group, you know, are relatively new to exporting and want to test different markets. And then what I would recommend is that we actually focus on some selected products at the beginning, and we kind of take a stock apart for those products. So you kind of put them apart if you can, and those will be your eBay listings, and we then just list via the eBay listing process. However, if you see that your items start selling and have sales velocity, and like, you know, every week you have you know, kind of a dozen of sales, then it becomes worth to talk about integrations. And essentially, you know, there's different ways and apps to integrate your web shop, so it can be synchronized with stock and so on and so forth. This is something we can discuss in the individual session. The point being, you know, don't do this until you know that you have regular sales, because it's quite a bit of time investment, and we don't want to invest time until we know that we we have kind of regular sales. All right, I'll take one more question, and then I think we'll call it a day because we're on the hour. Let's see if we have anything else here. Okay. Yes. So, oh, great. So we have another question from Cynthia. Are the products on our eBay store, can they be integrated with Instagram? Essentially, yes. I mean, you can share a link back to your eBay store from your Instagram. You can easily integrate with social media. Let's go back and look at my item for a second, and you'll see how it can be integrated with social media. Where's my listing? Here, active listings. Okay. So I'm looking at my listing here. So this is my listing. And let's assume I want to promote this on social media. So there are like direct integrations here with Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, where you can basically click on the Facebook icon and it's gonna share it in your Facebook feed. If you want to share items on Instagram, like you can do that by just kind of sharing an image of your item and then putting a link behind it, and then it will link back to your store. So yes, essentially that can be easily done. And I've had some good experiences doing social media campaigns with some sellers. So if this is something you're interested in, let's definitely talk about it in the individual session. Cool. I think we will call it a day. For the next session, we will be talking about visibility. Where's my presentation? Yeah, the next session we're going to talk about visibility. Please make sure to connect with me if you haven't set up the individual sessions or the practical sessions. And I very much look forward to meeting you there. I will share the presentation afterwards with my contact details. So with this, I want to say thank you very much, everybody, for your attention, and we will speak in a week's time. Thank you.